Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a stone skyscraper that also happens to be modelled after Wayne Enterprises, aka Bruce Wayne, aka Batman's company building, in Minecraft for all of your city building needs. In this tutorial, I will only show you how to make the outside of the skyscraper. Fun fact, I am hidden somewhere in the intro of this video. Let me know if, when and where you spotted me down in the comment section. This is the amount of space required to make the build, including a handy grid, which you may choose to copy, that will show you the starting position. And here are all of the materials that we will use throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin the build by placing 5 stone blocks on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend to the right by 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. We can extend all the way down to the ground, and then we want to extend backwards a further 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We can extend that block down to the ground, but we can now extend all the way across the back of the build. We can join down to this corner, and we can extend all the way to the very front of the build, so we just end up with this large rectangular shape. Next, we are going to fill in the base of the build, so come all the way back to where we first started and place a stone block here. Leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then place another stone block. Leave another gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone block. Gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone block. Leave a gap of 2, 1, 2, stone block. A gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone block. A gap of 2, 1, 2, stone block. A gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone block. 1, 2, 3, stone block. And then 1, 2, 3 stone block here in the corner. Then moving around to the side, we want to place an additional stone block here, and then leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then place 2 stone, 1, 2. Leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and place 3 stone, 1, 2, 3. Leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and place 2 stone, 1, 2. We then want to leave a final gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we place a stone here in this corner. On the back of the build, we are simply going to repeat what we have on the front of the build. This is easily accomplished by looking directly forwards and matching the same pattern of blocks that we have directly onto the back. That's exactly what I've just done myself, no counting required. We are going to do the same thing on this opposite side here as well. We are going to copy what we have over there. This is a little bit trickier because they're a bit further away, but I think that with a little persistence, and yeah, there we go, that looks right. So what we can now do with all of our stone blocks is extend them up to the top of our frame. Now that we have done that, we are able to add a layer of stone all the way along the inside of our build. And the only place that we don't want to do this is on the very front of the build. We have a larger empty space that you might be able to see right there. That is the only part that we do not want to place stone behind. Everywhere else, we do. So, just to give you a better look, there we are. Next, we are going to raise up all of our stone to be as high as the stone that we have placed for the rest of the frame. This is rather time consuming, but we've got to do it. The effect that will give us is this. We can now come all the way back to the front left hand corner of the build, which is here, and we can place an additional row of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stone extending up from this corner. We will then extend all the way over to the right, and join down to this corner, and we will extend back and join down to this corner and all the way across and join down to this corner, and of course all the way back to the very front again, where we will just connect back to ourselves. Next, we are going to add an additional row of stone, both on this left side and, as a matter of fact, underneath the entire row of stone that we've placed. Something that we can do is place the additional row of stone underneath the row that we have just made, but when you get to a corner, just add another row along the inside of it as well. We've got to do this for every single instance of this. So we may as well do it now. Next, we are going to fill in these large empty spaces. Come all the way to the front left side of the build. Leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then place 2 stone. Leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, place 2 stone, and then repeat this, extending all the way over to the opposite side. Now that we've done this on the front, come all the way to the back of the build and do the same thing. We don't really have to count on the back of the build, we can simply just place blocks in the same way we did the front, although I'm actually realizing now I think it might just be easier to count. So now that we have done this, we can actually extend up all of these stone blocks up towards the top of the frame. So we're just going to start here on the back of the build. And then we are going to move around to the side where our work has kind of already been done for us, as we just want to extend up these vertical columns of stone that you can see here at the base of the build. We just want to continue extending those up until we reach the top, like this. And then we can continue around and move to the front. And then on this side we can raise up these columns again. Next, we are going to move inside of the build, and we are going to add vertical rows of stone in the middle of all of these empty spaces. The stone sits right in the middle and one row behind the space. So from the outside, it will look like this, and we want the exact same design on every single side and window. All of these empty spaces are window frames. We are now going to move inside of the build, and we are going to make them look a bit more interesting. We will first of all place vertical rows of stone extending up in the middle of the frame, one row behind the actual empty space. From the outside, it will give us this appearance. And we want to do this extending all the way around the build. Every single window is going to be the same, at least on the base. Now that we have done this, we can further make these windows more interesting by adding a row of horizontal stone that extends and connects all of these windows together just one row away from the top of our window, just like this. So just from the outside perspective, they just look like a load of crosses, essentially. And now that we have done that, we want to fill in the rest of the empty space for these windows with glass. So from the outside, we want to have this appearance. From the inside, we have a bunch of empty space, but that doesn't really matter unless it really annoys you. If you were so concerned, you can fill in between all of these windows with something, and I might even do that myself a little bit later on. But for now, Before we move on to the next part, I don't want to forget that we have to add an additional layer of stone all the way around this part of the building. Now that that is out of the way, we can come all the way back to here and further extend this block up by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And we are just going to extend all the way over to the right and down. And all the way back. And down. And all the way across, of course. And down, or in this case, I'm extending up. And then we can just connect all the way back to where we first started, which is over here. So, next we are going to extend up all of these vertical rows of stone from the previous part of the build. We're going to extend all of these all the way up to the top of the frame. So I'm just going to extend one row, just like this, just so that it's nice and easy to pick out as I extend around. Just like that. But now we can take each one of these and we can just extend them just all the way up to the very top of the build. So now that we have done that, similarly to the previous level, we are going to add the vertical row of stone that splits each one of these windows in half. So, straight up the middle, one row inwards in relation to the actual empty space itself. We just want to do this, but of course extending all the way around the inside of the build. And I'm just extending it up from the previous layer. If you really wanted to be hyper efficient, then you don't have to include these two extra blocks that I'm adding at the top and the bottom. We only need to cover up the actual empty space itself. It's at points like this in the tutorial that I wondered to myself, why did I make this so big? Although the build would be a lot less impressive if it was tiny. So, now that we have separated all of the windows, as you can see, we are now going to add a row of stone around the bottom of the window. So we're just connecting the first row of stone together, just like this, extending all the way around the inside of the build, which I'm realizing is a little bit tricky to do, to be quite honest. But regardless, we do need to do it. It especially gets tricky in the corners there. There we go. So, just from the outside perspective again, just so that you can see it, I like to show you guys what we're actually doing. We have this. But what we then want to do is, on top of that layer of stone, we want to add 2 layers of glass. So that's exactly what I'm doing now. And once again, I've just made that mistake myself. You only have to cover up the empty space areas. If you find it easier to just place like one whole row of glass like this, then do feel free, but it is a little bit of a waste of time and possibly resources, depending upon what mode you're building this in. But regardless, 2 rows of glass on top of the stone. We then want to add another layer of stone on top of the glass. Followed by 4 layers of glass. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm actually just going to add it all in one layer. I did think about just placing each one of the 4 blocks all in one go on top of the stone, but I think that that would actually take more time, so we'll just do it individually and just extend around as we're doing now. We are on to the 4th and final layer of glass now. Perfect. So next we are going to add another layer of stone on top of the glass. And then finally, a layer of glass on top of the stone. And this will cover up all of the empty space in our windows. And whilst this has been, I think I'll speak for everybody, a giant hassle to do, this will look really nice from the outside, which I have purposefully not been showing you because I wanted to wait until now. There we go. I think that that looks really good. And now that we have done that, we are going to whip out our stone brick slabs, and we are going to place a row of stone brick slabs extending off of the top of the front of the building, just like this. And then we are going to stack 2 rows of andesite on top of these stone brick slabs. Followed by another layer of stone brick slab. Just like this. We are then going to extend the andesite backwards towards the back of the build until the andesite overhangs one row, in which we will place a layer of stone brick slabs hanging off of the top of the back of the build, just as we have on the front. And then I'm just going to extend the andesite backwards to meet the stone brick slabs. And then we're just going to extend across and then I'm just going to add another layer of stone brick slabs just on top of the andesite. And that will give us something that should look like this. Before we get too far into the video, we are now going to whip out the loom, the banners, the black dye and the white dye so that we can make the sign. If I leave it until last, I won't want to do it. So, we are literally just going to write out the words Wayne Enterprises in letters. Throw down loom, open it up, white banner in there with black dye. The first letter we must make is W. So that's the chevron pattern. Put white dye in there. Base indented pattern, black dye back in, pale dexter, pale sinister, W. Next is A, pale dexter, pale sinister, chief, and then fess. Next is Y, that is the bend, put white dye in there, per fess inverted, black dye back in, and apply the bend sinister pattern. Next is N, that's pale dexter, pale sinister, bend. Next is E, that's pale dexter, chief, fess, and then base. Next would actually be E again, but we have it, and then it would be N, but we have it, so instead we will make T. This is chief, and then pale. Next would be E again, but we have it, so instead R. This is the pale dexter, chief, and bend pattern. Next is P. This is the pale sinister, put white dye in there, per fess inverted pattern, black dye in there, pale dexter, chief, and then fess. That's P. Next would be R again, but we have it, so instead it is I, which is simply the pale pattern. Next is S. This is the chief, base, and bend pattern. Next is E, but we have it, and then we're just back to S again. So now that we have all of our letters, we can head all the way up to the top of our building, and we are starting right here. So we will place W, A, Y, N, E, space, E, N, T, E, R, P, R, I, S, E, S. And if we take a look, we have centered Wayne Enterprises perfectly in the middle of our building. Now I can get rid of the evidence that we ever made banners in the first place. With the sign out of the way, we can now move all the way up to the top of the build and work on the next part of our building. To do this, we will come all the way to the front left hand corner here and place a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 stone extending inwards along the inside of the slabs. We will then extend backwards by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then left by 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we will extend forwards to meet these slabs, and then we will extend across in front of the slabs and back to the back corner here. Unfortunately, now we have to go back to counting. We extend to the right by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We then extend inwards by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then right by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then extend forwards until you meet these slabs. And then just place stone along the inside of the slabs. And what we will get is this shape. For the next part, we are going to extend this block up by 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So now that we've done that, we are going to add another layer of stone directly on top of the odd shaped bit of stone that we have already placed. Then from here, we are going to extend this stone to the right by 2, 1, 2, and then all the way down. We are also going to extend this block all the way up to the same height as the row just here, and we'll extend left 1, 2, and we will extend all the way down. We will then add a row directly in the middle of these, extending all the way up. Just like this. And that's perfect. So we're just going to leave that as it is for now. And we are then going to do the exact same thing just to this right side. So we'll extend this corner block all the way up to equal the height as just the opposite side like that. We'll extend into, and then we'll drop all the way down. And then extend this corner upwards. Then into, and all the way down. Then we'll split this up the middle. And that looks good. So now that we've done this on the front, we are going to do the exact same thing on the back, because the back is very, very similar to the front. And we're just going to extend this block all the way up. We're not going to count it, although if you want to, it is 25. But I'm just going to match it to the front, and then I'm actually just going to copy everything that we've done on the front so far. And I know that I've already said that, but what I mean by that is I'm just going to look forwards, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is literally just in the same place. So no more counting and bouncing from one corner to the other. We're just going to match the front. And then we come over to the opposite side and we do the exact same thing here too. It's a little bit easier because the row that we're trying to emulate is a bit closer to us. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I'm like copying from the opposite side of something, or something that's just a bit too far away, I do second guess a little bit on if everything is the right size. But everything seems good so far. Okay, perfect. So now that we've done that on the front and the back, something that we can actually do, which will benefit us a bit later, is to extend these rows of stone up, just all the way up to the top and equal the height of the rows that we've already placed. So these are the rows that extend inwards towards the center of the build. Each one of these 4 rows, I believe that we have in total, can just get extended up. And just to show you what that looks like as well. I guess it doesn't have much of an impact, but trust me, it's going to be very, very helpful later anyway. We just want to do the exact same thing on the front. It's barely made a difference visually looking at the building, but it feels good to have filled more of the skyscraper in anyway. Next, we are just going to move around to the right side of the build, first of all. And we are going to extend this stone block backwards by 2, 1, 2. And then we're going to extend all the way down to the frame, just like this. And then we're going to leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to mark out a stone. Then we're going to leave a gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, place a stone. Gap of 1, stone. Gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone. And then a gap of 1, 2, 3, stone. So we can actually extend this last stone all the way up to the top. and we can just connect it to there. And then all of these other rows of stone, we are just going to extend all the way up to equal the height of the rest of the other rows of stone that we have everywhere. Everything's the same height, basically. So this is what the side of the build will look like, and before we start filling any more in, we're going to head onto the opposite side and we're going to copy all of this. So I'm just going to start off by extending this block inwards by 2 and then just joining down. We're effectively making the 4 corners of the build just a little bit more 3D. So we're kind of giving the corners of the building pillars, just like this. And then we are just going to count all of this out again. So we want to leave a gap of 3. 1, 2, 3. Place a stone. Gap of 3. 1, 2, 3. Stone. Gap of 1. Stone. Gap of 3. 1, 2, 3. Stone. And then we naturally have a gap of 3. We can then extend each one of these stones all the way up to the very top of the build, just like this. Same height as everything else. We have a bunch of these pillar sort of shapes scattered all the way around the build. The way that we fill them in is by coming to the bottom, placing 2 glass, 1, 2, with a stone on top. So we start at the bottom and we extend all the way up to the top with this pattern of 2 glass, 1 stone, until we eventually just run out of room all the way up at the top. So we can do this to this corner, but we can also do it to here as well. So we are just going to extend all the way around the build in a loop, clockwise or counterclockwise as I guess we're going now, and everywhere that we have these 2 parallel rows of stone, which you'll see that we have loads of these, we want to apply this exact same pattern. On each one of the 4 corners of the build, we effectively have 2 of these. And we also have them, despite the fact that they're not connected together at the top, in the middle of the left and right side of the build we have these 2 parallel rows as well. Next, we are going to head inside of the build once again, and we are just going to place an extra row of stone just along the bottom of the inside of these windows. So we just have to do this anywhere that we have the open windows, and this will just help us achieve this next part. So starting on the front left hand side again, we are going to add a vertical row of stone extending all the way up the middle of the build, all the way up to the top, just like this, splitting this area in half as we have done many times before. And we are actually going to do this, well, everywhere pretty much. If you have a look, not only here, we have the exact same thing on this side of the build as well. But it's not just the front and therefore the back, but the sides we have the same thing to do as well. And of course, the front and the back are almost identical, so we do have to do it here also. Final side now. So now that we have done that all the way around the build, we have a very simple job to do. So I actually find it a little bit easier to do it from the inside. Along these rows, we simply want to repeat this pattern. We start off with glass at the bottom, and then we place a stone. Glass, stone, glass, stone, glass, stone, glass, stone, etc, etc, extending all the way up to the very top of this row. Now, this is a tad tedious, and let me just show you what this looks like. So, the end result will be this, and the objective is to cover up all of the empty space. So we effectively have to do this on both sides of these rows. So my suggestion would be to add all of the stone or all of the glass, whichever, and then add all of the opposite material. But that's just my suggestion. Or do that and then kind of like just fill in one part at a time, if you like, because it could get a little bit tedious otherwise. I don't know which is faster. It might be faster just to get it all done in one go. It feels slower at the time, like it feels so much faster to just do what I've just done there and gently glide up to the top. But regardless, as long as you end up with this, which looks fantastic, you can't really go too far wrong. So we're going to do that everywhere. It's everywhere, so let's do it. I have an inkling, and this is based on absolutely nothing other than a feeling. It's easier to place the stone, I think, and then the glass, rather than the glass and the stone, at least for me. Or maybe not, I'm doing a horrible job of this. I think it's definitely easier to place it whilst you are looking at an established row of it though. This might be one of the most boring topics that I've ever brought up.
Is it easier to place it this way or this way, perhaps? Could it be the glass, or could it be the stone that you place first? Oh my, you're saving at least 2.5 milliseconds if you do it this way around versus the...
Yeah, I should probably stop talking and just get this all filled in. Okay, nice. So we're a little over halfway done at this point, only because we've already got the little front bit there filled in. So moving on to the opposite side now. Thank God that's over. Next, we are going to add an additional layer of stone directly on top of our skyscraper. The layer of stone is going to extend across and connect these like empty gaps. So just to show you, just around the tops like this. And we are conforming to the shape of the skyscraper as well. So just here, for example, we'll just extend across, we'll bridge the gap just like that, Come to think of it, it's actually pretty much the exact same as the base shape before we started adding in all of these fancy windows and such. So now that we have done that, we are going to add a layer of stone stairs to the front of this part of the skyscraper, and we're going to extend the stairs around, just hanging one row off of the side until we reach this point, and then we're going to miss the middle bit, and we're just going to do the same thing on this opposite side. Extend all the way to here, and then on top of the stairs we are going to stack another row of stone, and we're just going to stack another row of stone, as a matter of fact, directly on top of the shape of the skyscraper as well. Now, we might have to remove a little bit of that from the middle section, but it's not really a big deal. So the only part that we may have to remove it, and we will have to remove either one of these, is just in this little middle bit, so not very much at all. The end result of all of this should look like this. The next thing that we are going to do, although arguably a little bit unnecessary, is just to fill in the top of the building as we have it so far. It will make placing all of these next few bits a little bit easier. I also don't know why I'm doing it like this. I guess that I'm just filling in these outer parts, and then I'll just fill in the center bit. I really don't know why I do the things I do. So now that we have filled in the entire top of the building, we are going to make our way to this position. From this position, we want to count backwards 1, 2, 3. And on top of this block, place 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stone, which we then want to extend to the left by 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we just want to extend down, just like so. And then we want to place a stone block, leaving a gap every other block, just like this. And then we can extend these stone blocks all the way up to the very top of the frame like this. Then we are going to place inside of all of these empty spaces this sequence of blocks. 2 glass, 1 stone, extending from the bottom all the way up to the top. So I'm actually going to place all of these stone first. I think that you guys know by now that I prefer just placing one of something, but it doesn't really matter how you do it. I just find it easier to get the stone out of the way, and then we can just chuck the glass in afterwards. So now that we have done this to one side, we are just going to come all the way over to this side and do the same thing. So starting here in the same position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then to the right by 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just all the way down. Then we leave a gap every other block, extend all the way up to the top. And then 2 glass, 1 stone inside of all of these empty spaces. Why am I doing it differently on this side? Like I said earlier, I don't know why I do the things that I do. Regardless, here we are. So we've done this to the front of the build. We are now just going to come to the back of the build and do the exact same thing. So starting on either one of these sides, we count and find the 4th block, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 blocks extending up. And if you are so bothered about whether they connect or not, then we can actually just skip ahead a little bit and we can just join these together in rectangular shapes. And I think that this might actually be a little bit helpful for later. Anywhere that we can kind of just fill in these gaps, I think it's just good to. I think it just helps for the overall visualization of the build, and it's a nice way to gauge progress as well. So we can separate all of this out exactly how we did on the front. I'm just making all of the windows. This is just a carbon copy of the front of the build. So is it just me, or do I repeat the same thing just over and over again in just different orders throughout these videos? But there we go. That looks fantastic. And we are, of course, just going to copy this onto the opposite side. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to extend the top of the frames just backwards like this. And down, across, extend this corner here like this. Down, and then let's just divide up the back. So now that we have done that, we are going to come all the way over to this position here. we are going to place a stone block and then extend it outwards by 1. Then place a glass, stone. Behind this, glass, stone. And then we are going to extend back by 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Glass, stone. And then extend inwards, glass, stone, and then just a stone here to connect it together. And let's just take a look at this. That is absolutely perfect. And what we can do is we can make the stone as high as the rest of the build, just like this, and we'll just connect it together at the top. And wherever we have the glass, we want to have the same 2 glass to 1 stone pattern, just extending around to the side like this. And we just want to place some stone next to this as well. And we'll just come over here and we will do this. So we'll just box that in, and then it just makes it easier to add the pattern. Just like so. And then we are going to fill in between this in using stone. So just this big giant gap, we are just going to bridge it. And then we are going to add a row of stone all the way around the top of these side bits of the skyscraper, just like this. And then we are going to add an extra row of stone here, leave a gap of 2, stone, gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone, and then gap of 2, stone, which we will extend all the way up to the top here. And let's just take a look at it, because it actually looks quite good. There we go. That's looking very nice. And I think that you guys might know what's coming. So now that we have done that on one side of the build, we're going to go ahead and move over to this side and do the exact same thing. So just to remind you, we place a stone here, extend out, glass, stone, glass, stone. And as a matter of fact, we'll now just come over to the opposite side here. Stone, stone, glass, stone, glass, stone. And then we'll just join all the way back to the front like this. Then we can raise up all of the stone, actually, that we've placed as high as the rest of it. And we'll just join it together. Here I am again, joining everything together into nice simple shapes, just like this. And then if we just fill in this big middle bit, and then I think it's quite easy now to do these outer bits. So 2 glass, 1 stone for each one of these outer parts. There we go. And then we have to add the stone just all the way around the edge here. And then we are able to add more stone. So we'll leave a gap of 1 here, place a stone, gap of 2, stone, gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, stone, gap of 2, 1, 2, stone, and then we'll just extend all of these stone all the way up to the top of the frame here. And that will give us this, which looks fantastic. Now, what I'm going to do next is extend the inner parts of these walls just towards the center of the build, like this. So, just to show you, I want to like fill the gap in with this wall, and I want to do it on each one of the 4 sides here. So, I think that we're on the back of the build right now. Yes, and then the front as well. That's perfect. Next, we are going to extend these bits of the build-up a little bit further. So, this block here, we want to add an additional 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stone blocks on top of. And then we just want to extend it to the left and then down to this point, like so. And then we're going to divide it up again, just as we did down below. And we'll do the exact same thing. It's, once again, just 2 glass, 1 stone, extending all the way up. Just like so. And then we'll do the same thing here on this opposite side, so we don't have to count this out. We can just use that side, and it would join down to here. Let's try filling it in this way. I don't think I've tried this yet. Fantastic. So now that we have done that, we can just extend the tops of this backwards, and we can join it down. And we will, of course, apply the same pattern to the back. And we'll do the same thing on the opposite side as well. So now that we have done this on both sides, and the front and the back, we can now come all the way to here once more, and we're just going to add an extra row of stone along the inside of the top here. And we are going to place a row of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stone here, and then we'll extend to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just down like so. Then we will divide this area in half up the middle, and then we'll place the 2 glass and 1 stone combo, just like this. And we'll also place a row of stone slab across the top of this as well. And we want to apply this to this side. So add the row of stone, and then right here we will place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then extend across by 4 and down, divide this area up like so, then add the row of slabs across the top. And just to show you, just in case I'm doing it a bit too fast, this is what we are looking for. And then pretty much exactly how we did with the lower part. I think I'm just going to extend the top of this back, add a row of stone here, and kind of just like meet it somewhere in the middle. And I'm just going to apply the same decoration to the back of the build as well. So we will have that, and of course we'll do the exact same thing here. So I think I'll add this row first, and then let's go ahead and extend this backwards. So now that we have done that on both sides, we are now just going to return to the front of the build once again. And starting from here, we are going to extend to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just like this, right? And we're going to do two things. We will extend down to the lower part of the build, but we will also extend backwards, and we will join to the equivalent position on the back of the build. So we will have, once we join all the way down here, we will have something that will look like this. Before we continue, I think that it will be easier to fill these gaps in that we have on the front of the build with stone, just like this. So we'll fill that entire little wall section in, and we'll do the same thing on the back as well whilst we're at it. That is fantastic. And then we are going to, on the side here, this empty side, we're going to leave a gap of 2 at the top, so 1, 2, and then we will add a horizontal row of stone. And then we will leave a gap of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then place a row of stone here. And then we will do the same thing on the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4, stone here. And we will extend said stone all the way down to the previous level, just like this. So that row here and this row here. I realise that's a horrible angle for tutorial purposes, but this is what we will have. And we will fill the middle bit in, just behind all of this empty space, with stone. And then I'm being so clumsy. So there we go. So that's what the middle looks like. But then for these outer parts here, we will add a row of stone along the inside on the left and the right. So we'll do this on both sides. So it will be here. I think it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing from this angle, but yeah, okay, good. I thought I got that wrong for a second, but it will hopefully be quite easy. So there we go. From the outside, that's what we're looking for. And then beyond this, we're kind of just following the previous pattern, which is just at the bottom here. Let's fill this in with stone, because I think that that's also a bit confusing as well, that we've got those gaps. At the bottom here, we'll have two glass, 1 stone, 2 glass, 1 stone, extending all the way up, just like this. And we'll do the same thing on this opposite side also. And there we go. So that was a rather complicated process, or at least it felt like it to me. But this is what we want to have, unfortunately, on the opposite side as well. So now that we have done that to that side, we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing to this side as well. So starting off, we come to this block here and we place 1, 2, 3, 4 stone extending out, which we then drop down to the previous part of the building, and we extend the corner backwards, and we join it to here, and this block down also to here. That's great. And then we are just going to fill in the little front bits first, because I think it just makes it a lot easier. So just these bits. Good. And then here also. And then on the side of the build, we are going to add a horizontal row of stone, leaving a gap of 1, 2 from the top. We'll add the horizontal row of stone. Then we'll leave a gap of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 stone. Same thing on the opposite side, 1, 2, 3, 4 stone. And we will extend the stone both up and down, just like this. And that will give us, from the outside looking in, this. And we can fill the middle section. We'll start off with the middle section. You know what? I'm just make this a bit easier. I'm just going to fill in these gaps also. So then we can fill the middle section in from top to bottom with stone. Like this. So let's take a look from the outside. Fantastic. And then along the inside of this row here, we can add a row of stone here and here. Same thing here and here. And then we can fill these sections in with our good old never fails combo of 2 glass to 1 stone row, extending all the way up to the top, this side and this side, and that is looking really, really good. I mean, that is these like 2 outer parts. That's pretty much it for those. Although it isn't lost on me that we are missing the entire middle part of the building. So, here it goes. We are going to come all the way down to this part of the build. And we are going to extend this row of stone all the way up to the top. Eventually, we will reach, not this point, we're going to go further beyond this, all the way up to the very, very top of the build here. So, not these pokey out bits, but these parts. And we will extend our stone across just like this, and I'm actually just going to drop down because I find it easier to build up, and we're going to extend this up on the opposite side just like so. Oh, and even further beyond again. So we now have a giant kind of rectangular shape, right? We have to do 2 things. We have to drop all the way down to this part of the build, and behind where the T is, I'm just going to mark this out with a stone. We place a stone, and then we extend it left 2, right 2. Add a row on top, extend the 3 middle blocks up, place stone stairs either side, and a row of stone slabs across the top. And then we are going to extend these blocks backwards, and these will join to the center part of our building. And then we'll extend these slabs also. And let's take a little look. Perfect. And from here, we are able to extend the stone brick slabs either forwards or backwards. It doesn't really matter which way you want to do it. I just got severely confused there, so I'm just extending it back from the front. And there we go. That's perfect. And we can even maybe fill the middle of this in with some andesite or maybe a different block, just for a little bit of contrast. There we go. That looks nice. So there is another unique part of the middle of the building, which is found by tracing this row of stone here all the way into the middle. So we'll just apply it like this, right? So we'll extend that row of stone to the middle here. And then we can fill in the 2 rows below this, 1, 2 with stone, and the 2 rows above this, 1, 2 with stone. So we're just going to mark out these rows, we're just going to get them filled in with stone, and then later on we will just tackle this problem. And oh, and we can also just fill the sides in here a little bit as well. Perfect. So next, starting from the top here, we are going to place a glass here in this corner, underneath it a stone, and underneath it a glass. Moving down and through, we will place a glass, stone, glass, stone, glass, stone combo, extending all the way down. We remove this block here, and then we can just continue extending. We may just remove that entire row that I just marked out there as well. All the way down. My gosh, this goes... Okay, so we'll actually stop here, and we just want it to begin just above the kind of like semicircle that we have. So let's take a look. That is what we want to have, and it's clear to me that we just want to remove this row of stone. So we can then actually add vertical rows of stone to make this a little bit easier. Every other block inside of this empty space, just extending all the way through these rows, all the way up to the tippity top. So there's one, as you can see, and you guys know I like building from the bottom going up, so that is exactly what we shall do. And then one last row of this. So that will... Oh no, there's this little bit up at the top, of course. So that will give us this. That's fantastic. And then we can add the horizontal rows of stone in. So it's basically just a big checkerboard, or chessboard, or drafts, if you like. Drafts always sounded a bit fancy for my liking. I prefer checkers. It also doesn't sound right to say drafts. It sounds a little bit too eh. I think if you're going to use the word drafts, you've got to say drafts. Anyway, we are now going to fill all of these little gaps in with glass or gloss. Sounds so unnatural. Okay, so now that we have done that, does that not just look fantastic? That looks very, very good. Before we do anything else, because I'm liable to forget, we are now going to make just a giant W here in this blank area towards the top of the skyscraper. So to do this, we come in between these windows and we move up half a row and place a smooth quartz slab, which we extend up and outwards, add another layer on top, extend outwards, extend the middle block up by 1, 2, and do the same with the outer blocks, and then extend the outer blocks up an additional 1. We're actually going to drop the middle block half a row down, and then we will extend these 2 top blocks inwards just half a row like this. And that is the W. And our next task is going to be to come to the very back of the build, and we are going to do a similar thing, but not the same thing. So we're going to start off by extending all of these stone brick slabs backwards to fill in this gap here. We don't have that large semicircle that we do on the front of the build, so we're just going to leave this nice and flat. Just like so. And then we are going to add an additional 2 rows of stone here. And then we're pretty much going to copy the front for the most part. So we'll extend all of this stone here up on the left, all the way up to the top and beyond it. Just like this. And we'll extend across the top and down. And I believe it's this bottom row that we remove, so we'll do that. And then we will extend... Why is that happening? And then we will extend all the way down to the bottom like this. And I'm also just going to fill these gaps in, because I don't know why they're bothering me so much, but they truly are. That's perfect. And now I'm going to add the vertical rows of stone in. So on the back of the build, we don't have a giant W representing Wayne. So we're just going to have just really long rows of stone, which we can just mark those 2 out just for easy reference later. I keep turning my flying off. My hand's been in the same position for so long on my keyboard. My thumb, forefinger and middle finger have went numb. That's just a fun fact for you. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. I guess it happens to me. I didn't know that was possible. So now we have these stripy bits. We can then start adding the horizontal rows of stone. And now we can just fill all of these in with glass. And that will give us this. This is looking rather impressive. Moving back around to the front again, we are now going to make this middle section. So this is fairly simple. We are going to extend the sides of the build here inwards, and we want to just extend across 1 row inwards in the middle. So like we extend the sides back, and then just 1 row behind this we extend across, and we fill these gaps in with stone, and we can just fill these little sides in with stone as well. And then we can add some stone along the side and the top. We're just creating a rather simple box, just like this. And we want to destroy the 3 middle blocks and leave a gap of 1 and the 2 either side. And we can just extend all of these up to the top. Then we leave a gap of 2, and we split this horizontally, and that gives us this series of empty space, which can just be filled in with glass. And there we go. That looks absolutely perfect. And beyond this, we can add some stone slab to the top of this, extending out. And it just wants to connect the sides together, just like this. And we are now going to move to the back and do the same thing. So we'll extend the sides of the build back a little bit. We'll extend them across so that they just extend back and just join together one row behind this. Fill these little gaps in with stone. Fill these side bits in with stone as well. Then we connect the top together across, just left to right like this. Add 2 rows of stone here on the left. I'm copying the front now, by the way, so I advise you to do the same. It's just the same sequence of windows. So we'll just leave all of these gaps in here. I'm not even looking at my plans now. I'm literally just looking forwards and copying all of that. Add the glass here. Just like so. There we go. That's fantastic. And then we can just add the stone slab just in between the top. It does not come out as far as this. And then we add a layer of stone slab around the top of these 2 side parts of the build. So just like this, here, and we do the same here also. And I want to take a look at this, ladies and gentlemen, because this is quite monumentous. At this point in time, the only thing that we've got to add to the building is the roof, and I am so excited to do so. Okay. We will place a row of polished black stone stairs above and outside the central stone slabs. So what I mean by that is if we take a look on the front, the stairs extend across the top and join to these slabs. However, they sit along the outer part of the general rectangular shape that is the middle of the building. So now that we have added 1 layer of the polished blackstone stair roof, we can go ahead and add more and more layers. Of course, you guys know how roofs work. 1 row inwards and 1 row higher than the previous layer. So it'll probably go about as high as there. So I don't have a specific number of how many rows of stairs we used to get up to this point, but once you're at the point where there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of empty space at the top here, we're just going to stick a layer of polished black stone slabs just to fill in this empty space. So this is just directly on top of the empty space. And once you've done that, I'm excited to see how this looks. You will have 100% fully completed Wayne Enterprises. Wow. And with that final detail added, we have officially completed this tutorial, ladies and gentlemen. However, this video is now over. We must now add Wayne Enterprises into our city. I would so very love to add this into the new suburban suburbs, but I think that it would potentially just ruin it because it is so much bigger than the rest of the suburbs. So, instead, we are going to place it next to the modern office building. Eventually, this part of the city is going to be the skyscraper office business district, so it makes sense that it should live here for now.
Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this tutorial, please remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Also, consider becoming a channel member. You will gain access to loyalty badges, some fun emojis, and a monthly download for every single build used in our city. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.